Okay, it stitched my placement. Now, once again, this is the pattern for if you just want the look of these lines on the back of a solid piece of fabric. If you don't want to do the back in the individual strips and you just want a full sheet of a full side of fabric or vinyl, this will put the lines in it, okay? That's one of the files that is included. Okay, now I'm going to go tack this down and it's going to do the lines. Okay, it tacked this down and then it did the lines. Okay, let's see which one of these. So essentially it would go on top of my bag. So this side would flip over here and so on and so on. Okay, but now for now we'll just take this piece of fabric and set it aside and we'll make the bag, if that's what I was going to do. But I am going to do the steps for making the strips on the bag. Then we'll get to the bag itself. Okay, now we are going to do the strips for the back in the hoop. I have my no-show poly mesh hooped, and I'll go do my first placement. Okay, I probably won't go through all of these, but I'll go through the first half so you can see placement, flip, blah, blah. So the first one just goes like so. I'm going to do it at an angle, and I put it over 1/2 inch. Okay, you want to make sure you have a 1/2 inch clearance overhang, top and bottom and sides. I mean, just bottom and sides. So I am going to go a 1/2 inch over, just like that, and go tack it down. Okay, it tacked it down and it did the next placement stitch for the next strip. Now, I do not put the batting on this because I like the batting to be put down on the back when you're ready, and once it does the stitch, then I like to trim the batting close to the stitch so it doesn't get caught, it doesn't end up having to be sewn through. Otherwise it makes the edges all bulky and your purses don't lay as neatly as they should or could. So here's the placement the placement stitch. Make sure the strip you have, when you put it down like this, it's going to fold over. Make sure you have enough fabric that's going to overhang the side and the bottom. Okay, I have way more than I need, but I'll cut it in a minute. I just line my edges up. I don't say, oh, a little bit here. I just line the fabric right on top of the fabric. I realize I push my power button, stop button, too quickly sometimes and my speech gets cut off. All right, it did the tack down. So now we're going to finger press this over like I do, nice and neat. And, so I don't like it baggy. And you know me, I like also to tape because I don't want it to move. Okay, now it will do a stitch here and then a stitch down there, and then it'll go to the next placement stitch. Okay, it's did the tack down and it did the triple stitch right down here. It's hard to see with this fabric. And it also did my placement. So I'm once again going to take my fabric and I'm going to line it right up with this. Okay, and it will do it the tack down and then I will fold it over. Okay, be right back. Okay, it's did the tack down. Now I'm going to fold this over like so. Find my couple little pieces of tape that I have right there. Tape it down. And now we'll go tack it down and it'll do the next placement stitch. Okay, it did the tack down, the triple stitch, and did the placement stitch for the next piece of fabric. So I will take and line it up again, tack it down, fold it over. Okay, I'm just going to go all the way to the last one and do this, and I'll be back. Okay, as I said, I'd come back. All right, now we're ready. It's did the last placement stitch. So once again, I'm going to put my fabric down, line it up with the, make sure you have enough that when you roll over, it's going to be a 1/2 inch over. Even though this is the back, you still want enough so to overhang. All right, so there's my fabric, and I will tack it down and then fold it over. Okay, it's tacked it down. Now I'm going to fold it over, and I'm going to tape it. And, well, I didn't need 2 pieces of tape, really. But okay, now I'll go do the last stitch, and then we'll start the bag. Okay, it's all done. Now we're going to remove it from the hoop and just set it aside. Okay, I'll just set it aside and wait till we get to this part of the bag where I need it. Okay, now we're going to do the bag itself. I have my no-show poly mesh hooped, and I will go do the placement stitch for the zipper. Okay, this is the closest zipper I have for this without going black. And man, it's gonna push it. This is an 8 inch and I really need a 9 inch, but I'm gonna try it. We will see. Let's hope it doesn't hit my machine. So we are going to tape our zipper and center it right here between the top 2 lines. Oops, and make sure it stays actually centered. And now I'm gonna go tack it down. Okay, it's tacked down my zipper, and now I'm gonna cover the bottom part of this with my batting and go tack it down. Okay, it tacked down the batting, so now I'm going to trim my batting as close to the stitch as I can, all the way around. Okay. Okay, there we go. We have our batting trimmed. Now we're going to turn our hoop over. And we're going to take our lining. And we are going to take our lining and we're going to put it face down, right in line with the zipper, okay? Face down, the lining. I tape it to my hoop, as well to my stabilizer. Okay, now I will turn it over and I roll it up and I tape it to my hoop right here. Okay. All right, now I'll send it over to the machine and it will tack down the lining back here and it'll do my first placement stitch for my first. Okay, it did the first placement stitch. Now I want you to see this. This is how we did the last one, right? This was my ending color. When we place this on the bag, it's gonna go like this. So we want to start with the last color first. So I will get my last color and I will place it right here. You wanna make sure you overhang the edge 1/2 inch. The top is going to be, you want to go over this line 1/2 inch as well, because you're not going to trim this. The top will all get trimmed at the edge, and you want your fabric face up. Okay, I'll go tack it down. Okay, it tacked it down, and it did my placement stitch for the next one, so I will take my next piece of, because this one was too crooked, I'll straighten this one out. I'll take my next piece of fabric face down. It would be the second one from the end, right? You're just going to reverse the order of your colors, your strips. Okay, and like the back, now it tacked it down. I'm going to fold this over, neatly do that, tape it over. Tape it, it'll tack it down and do the next placement stitch. Okay, it tacked it down and it did the next placement stitch. So now I'll take my next piece of fabric and I will place it face down and go tack it down. Okay, it tacked it down. Now we're gonna fold it over, tape it. Okay, and go do the stitch in the next placement. Okay, it tacked it down and it did my next placement stitch. So I'm gonna lay my fabric down and line it up here and tack it down. Okay, it's tacked it down. Now we'll do a fold over, tape it, tape it. Now go tack it down and do the next placement. Okay, it's did the tack down, it's did the placement. I'll take my next piece of fabric, line it up, and then I will go tack it down. Alrighty then, it's tacked it down. We're gonna fold it over. We're nearing the end here. Tape it. Tape down here. And go tack it down and do the next placement. Okay, it's tacked it down, did the next placement. We're gonna take our piece of fabric, lay it down, tack it down. Okay, tacked it down. We're gonna fold it over, tape it, go stitch it. Alrighty then, we're getting down to the nitty gritty here. It did the next placement stitch, so I will take my fabric and I will lay it down and go tack it down. Okay, so it tacked it down. We're gonna fold it over. This is where you need to make sure you're over a 1/2 inch, around the edge or. Okay, so tack that or tape that. And then we'll go tack it down and do the last placement stitch for the strips. Okay, it's tacked it down, did my last placement. So I'm gonna take my fabric, put it here, and go tack it down. Okay, it's tacked it down. Now we're gonna fold this over like so. Tape it. I'm gonna use 2 pieces right here. And it'll do the last stitch here. Okay, you can see everything's tacked down the way it should be. Looks like I have a piece of tape right there. Let's get that off. Okay, now that's all done. Now you're going to trim your top because it's going to do a satin stitch up here. Okay, so let's see. I want to do it from this way, I think. So I'm going to trim it as close to my stitch as I can without cutting my stitch. Okay, there we go. Now we are going to send it back over to the machine and it's going to do the top satin stitch. Okay? Okay, as you can see, it did my satin stitch. Now we're going to remove our tape. If you taped it, turn your hoop over and pull your lining down. Okay? I tape mine down because I don't want the lining getting caught anywhere. Okay, and then send it over the machine and it'll tack it down. Okay, it has tacked down my lining. Okay, and it also went ahead and did the placement stitch for my purse tab or my strap tab or wristlet tab, whatever you want to call it. This is a 6x8, so it only has one on the side. Now, I put my D-ring now in here, and I have the 2-sided fuse tape. And now I use that to close it so my tabs don't fall up anymore. So now I will put my tab over here, right here where I want it, tape it in place, and then tack it down. Be right back. Okay, it's tacked my strap tab down. Okay, now we are going to unzip our zipper. Okay, and I'm gonna tape my tab down because that's what I do. Okay, there we go. All right, so now if you were gonna do a pocket on the back of your bag, you would put it now. You would take your fabric and or vinyl, whatever you're gonna use. If you're just using one piece of vinyl, you would just put it face down right there below the zipper and make sure it overhangs a 1/2 inch. And that would go now, face down. Okay, but we're not. Here's our fabric that we sewed together. And when I flip it over, this color is going to match that color. So we're going to line up our bottoms as best we can. See, like that. Make sure we're over far enough, which it should match up. So I'm going to line up my bottoms. So you see that? Can you see how my bottoms? I'm going to line the bottoms best I can, as I said. Make sure my top's all the way up. Oops, I got to move it up. We don't want it to, there is a line, your seam, you know, that you can line that up on the bottom if you want. So I'm sure I'm making it more difficult than it really is. All right, so that goes there, right like that. Okay, and yep, it's over the top and it's lined up at the bottom. Now you will take your batting. This is when you put the batting on. Now you put the batting now and you go stitch it all together. Alrighty then, okay, it's sandwiched that all together. We're gonna pull our batting and we are going to trim it as close to the seam as we can. Okay, that way it's just not all bulky when we fold it right side out. Hey. Okay. So now that we've got that trimmed, okay, we are going to turn our hoop over and we are going to place our, well, first I am going to cut where my zipper is. I'm going to cut my stabilizer right here where my zipper is. Remember I told you if you close your zippers, if they're sharp enough and you close them small enough, you shouldn't catch your fabric. Okay, there we go. Now that's trimmed. Just makes it easier and neater. All right, so, oh, sorry. All right, so we've got it turned over. We are going to take our second piece of lining and we are going to put it face down. Make sure it hangs over the bottom an inch, top, whatever, you know, as long as it covers at least a 1/2 inch all the way around. All right, we are going to put this like this. And we are going to send it over the machine for the last stitch. Be right back. I had meant to show you that if you wanted to use the fabric that was just stitched and nothing else, you would put that face down just like you did your other fabric, you know, but I didn't want to use that. I wanted to use this. All right, so it's all done. I'm gonna go around and pick up any tape that might be laying around. So always tape, always tape. That one really didn't matter because it wasn't on anything. Okay. Darn it, Jim. Oh well, we'll clean that off later. Oh, now it's stuck all over. The little pieces are stuck to my finger. Okay, so let's take it out of the hoop. And you know, I use this fabric for the lining and it's horrible. You know, because it like wants to pull apart. Ugh. Forgot about that. What I'm going to do real quick is get rid of some of this stabilizer on the edges. Okay, so we are going to turn this over and pull our lining out of the way. And we are going to trim the bottom. And I always trim it about 1/4 of an inch or so. Okay. And we'll take this. I'm going to keep this a little extra longer because, as I said, it likes to fall apart on me. Cut this at an angle right to the end of the stitch. Okay, then we're going to go around and cut it about 1/4 inch all the way around. It's kind of hard to see. I'm going to turn over this way just because I can't see that thread on this. Marlin, these scissors are wonderful. It's my daughter. She bought me these scissors for Christmas. Alrighty then. Okay, let's clean this mess up right here. This here. Now we are going to turn it right side out from between the lining. Oops. Watching the Green Bay Packers and the Seahawks. Seahawks are trying to come back. Okay, there we go. All right, I hear tape and the noise is annoying. Annoying. Sorry. All right. Sorry, Dennis, that's chit-chat. All right, let me put all this in, take my corners, poke them out like I do with my handy-dandy paintbrush. Push the curves out so it looks all nice and neat. Oh, and I have a new bag. I can't wait to show you guys. A new design. All right, so tuck that under. And I don't know if you remember last time, I think I figured out if I pin this under, it makes it, ow, gosh darn it. Oh my goodness, that hurt. Shoot. Dang it. Sorry, guys. Oh, this is a bent pin. Don't want no bent pin. Darn, that hurt. Dang, now I'm going to get... All right. So, I'm going to use tape. Try not to get blood on stuff. Gosh darn, that hurt. Put my tape down right like that. Cut it. Ooh, 23-28. Seahawks are serious about this game. I'm in Wisconsin, just in case you didn't know. And I'm from Michigan, so Packers are not my fan. But I live here, so I root for them when they're there, but not when they're playing Detroit, of course. All right, yeah, see, it works better when the pins are there. All right, I have that under there. Oh, well, maybe. Okay, oops. I'll start. Oh my gosh. It's not that bad, really. When I said, oh, I got it, I obviously lied. Now just kind of pull it closed like that. Take your pins out so you don't forget and poke your fingers. And then press the quick fuse down. Okay, there we go, and there we go. Now reach in, unzip your zipper the rest of the way, and turn your bag right side out. And there's my bottoms meet up. See, just like I knew what I was doing. Okay, put my corner out. Push this corner out. Usually I zip the zip a little bit. Then use that to push my corner out if you want the corner out. All right. There we go. There's the front. There's the bottom. There's the back. There you go. That is how you do the two-sided jelly roll bag. Whoops, sorry for shaking it.